Greetings, my fellow Americans. We are live. This is Live Free or Die. I am your host, Eli King, the king of alternative news and independent journalism on your Manhattan neighborhood network, the People's Network, where we, the people, get an opportunity to exercise our First Amendment right. The right to free speech and the right to freedom of press. That's right. Here you will get free press, true news, news that will unlock your mind. All right, let's get started. Last week I didn't get to touch on Gaddafi. I tried to save it for the end of the show, and we just ran out of time. You know how that goes. So let's just start off with the massacre and the assassination of Colonel Muammar Gaddafi. I'm not saying this man is a good man. This man is not a good man, Gaddafi. But he is definitely the lesser of two evils in this one. If you look at the facts, you will see. And we're going to start off with a report by investigative journalist Wayne Matson. And he says his sources in Libya provided information revealing Muammar Gaddafi was set up in an assassination plot. Early on October 19th, Twitter messages from Gaddafi's hometown of Sirte reported the presence of white flags across the devastated town. Flags were reported at multiple locations in the town, leaving some to believe the rebels were surrendering. The use of white flags to signal surrender is an ancient tradition going back to Eastern Han Dynasty in China and the Roman Empire. Violating the widely accepted convention is considered an act of extreme treachery. Under both the Geneva and Hague protocols of international humanitarian law, it is forbidden to kill or injure persons outside of combat, and doing so constitutes a major war crime. So, your President Obama, my president too, unfortunately, has violated the Geneva Convention. He has violated Executive Order 12333 when he went after Gaddafi. That executive order states you cannot go after another country's leader because of a vendetta. The vendetta I'm talking about is when the President Barack Hussein Obama in the 1980s was a CIA officer in Chicago spying on black militant groups. And these black militant groups were funded by who else? Gaddafi, that's right. So, investigative journalist Wayne Matson pinpoints this precisely to why President Obama has assassinated and killed almost 50,000 people in Libya. And with all the democracy and the freedom that's going on there now, let's talk about one of these freedoms that they have there now. See, Gaddafi, he allowed his woman to walk around unveiled with their hair, their beautiful hair, nice, loose, and free. He also allowed women to go to school, college, high school, all for free. Not no more. That's the kind of freedom you got over there now. Now, the Libyan's interim leader has declared Islamic law in Libya. And also Sharia law. Sharia law is like what I explained, is a Islamic law where the women have to stay veiled, and the men can have more than one wife, and you can be stoned if you are caught committing adultery. These are the freedoms that your president, Barack Obama, has brought to Libya. Also, please, I beg of you, go to my YouTube channel, just type in Live Free or Die, MNN, the way you see it on the screen right there. You will see my YouTube channel. I have posted a video that is way too graphic for MNN. I can't even show it. Of children, it's only 1 minute long, of the devastation that the NATO bombs have done to children. Everyone needs to see this. like when they released the Vietnam footage in the 1960s and showed it on national television of the little girl burning from napalm, running naked with her skin burned off. We saw the reality and we pulled out of the war. So people need to see this reality. When I saw this video, literally, I cried. I cried like a baby for about 5 minutes. That's how bad it is. That's the kind of peace you want to bring? Anyway, please go to my YouTube channel. Watch this video. It's called Obama's NATO Bombs Kill Children. Children. Now, I'm highly upset. What I'm reporting right now can get me killed. But I'm all in. After seeing that video, I realized I am all in. I don't care about the consequences. I am angry. I'm all in. Bring it. Because I know my message will live on. And humanity will thrive. I know good will prevail. Let me calm down. Please, I'm ranting. Alright, let's read this next report. This is from Paul Joseph Watson, basically linking the Libyan freedom fighters to Al-Qaeda. And this also comes from a 2007 West Point report. Let me read it. NATO's bombing campaign has paved the way for an extremist, arcane, and brutal system of justice. Sharia law was mandated by Abdel Hakim Belhaji, the former Al-Qaeda commander whose LIFG terrorist organization killed United States troops in Iraq and Afghanistan. Jalil promised to revoke Gaddafi's ban on polygamy and return Libya to Islamic banking laws during the triumphant speech on Saturday, declaring Libyan laws in the future would have Sharia, the Islamic code, as its basic source. Sharia law is viewed by many as an arcane and inherently brutal system of justice, with harsh punishments for those deemed to have broken its moral code, including torture and execution for sins such as adultery, homosexuality, and robbery. The law also stifles free speech as it criminalizes criticism of Islam, the Quran, and the Prophet Muhammad. Belhaji is the front man for the Libyan Islamic Fighting Group, LIFG, designated as a terrorist organization by the United States State Department. Belhaji was captured by the CIA in Malaysia in 2003 and extradited to Libya, where Colonel Gaddafi had him imprisoned. Belhaji is a committed jihadist who fought with the Taliban against U.S. troops in Afghanistan. Libyan rebel leader Abdel Hakim el-Hasid also admitted that Belhaji's LIFG fighters were the second largest cohort of foreign fighters in Iraq. A 2007 West Point report indicated that the Benghazi, Darnell, Tobruk area of Libya is a world capital for Al-Qaeda or Mujahideen suicide bomber recruitment. Author Webster Tarpley details this in his intelligence analysis piece. The CIA's Libyan rebels, the same terrorists who killed U.S. and NATO troops in Iraq. The West Point report detailed how the LIFG and Al-Qaeda have formed an increasingly cooperative relationship. Since the LIFG seized key areas of this country in Libya, black Libyans have been subject to torture, imprisonment, and execution at the hands of Belhaji fighters and other Libyan rebels. That's right, because these guys are racist. As you know, the Arabs were involved in the slave trade back when slavery was around. So this racism goes back years in history. They do not like black people. I'm sorry, folks. I am just fuming after I saw this video. You got to go to my YouTube channel. Watch the video. It's under my favorites. It's under my playlist. Obama's NATO bombs kill children. Live free or die, MNN. Type it in. While the establishment media grandstands about freedom and democracy being brought to Libya, in reality, the West has deliberately installed radical regimes who, if anything, will become more brutal than the tyrants they have replaced. This, in turn, builds tension throughout the region and lays the pretext for additional U.S. and Israeli intervention further down the line. You see? They put in Al-Qaeda, and then they say, oh, Al-Qaeda is running rampant. Now we really got to go in. Now troops are really going to go in. Oh, man. Even Russia is angry. In Moscow, Foreign Minister Sergei Lavrov said the Geneva Conventions had been breached with the killing of Colonel Gaddafi. This is from The Independent. Even the politicians in Russia are highly upset and are saying that this is a violation of the Geneva Convention. And then you got some people saying, oh, it wasn't Obama, it was the other presidents on the United Nations Council. Well, do you know President Obama is the president of the United Nations Council? And he's also the president of the United States of America, which is a violation of the Logan Act. This is treason. He should be impeached, tried by a jury of our peers, or his peers, and if found guilty, yes, he should be executed. I said it, that's right. I'm all in. All right, and what's next? Next, you got John McCain and the politicians talking about, we're going to Syria. We're going to Syria. I'll read this. This is by Matson Rupert from Infowars.com. With the destruction of Libya winding down, the Western imperialist machine is looking for the next target for destabilization and exploitation. Now that the military operations in Libya are ending, there will be a renewed focus on what practical military operations might be considered to protect civilian lives in Syria, said John McCain at the World Economic Forum meeting. The situation in Syria is far more transparent, as the armed status of the protesters is regularly glossed over in the Western corporate media. In the few instances in which it is mentioned, they are just labeled opposition gunmen. Then the mainstream media continues to pretend that they are peaceful, pro-democracy activists who are victim of an evil government. See, these guys are Al-Qaeda over there trying to overthrow the Syrian government. They have guns. There's no peaceful protest. They have guns. And they're shooting and they're rioting. So Syria is just trying to take hold and control of their government. If Americans took up guns against the United States government, you can bet that they wouldn't be characterized as peaceful, pro-democracy protesters. Yet, when it happens in Syria, they are given a special status. It's a shame. It's a shame. All right. Let's move on. We got an American Free Press staffer ignites Federal Reserve protest. As the Occupy Wall Street protest movement, which began September 17th in Manhattan, spreads rapidly across the globe, a small protest broke out in Washington, D.C. in front of the privately owned Federal Reserve. AFP asked Ms. Balinska, who was photographed burning a Federal Reserve note, whether people should be paying attention to the Federal Reserve. She said, yes, because that's where the money comes from. A private corporation that prints money, she said, that's their product. I would encourage more people to burn their money, even if you just burn it in your backyard or on the street. Just do it for yourself. That's one way to protest the Federal Reserve. Okay, I don't condone that. Do not burn your money. Do not burn your Federal Reserve notes. Yes, that will devalue the dollar, and or not the dollar, but devalue their plan to inflate the dollar. What I suggest is take your Federal Reserve notes and buy silver, buy gold, buy precious metals. Replace your Federal Reserve notes with precious metals. It is the greatest investment in the world at this time. Buy food, buy water, buy guns legally. Because you know in New York you can't have a gun unless you go through the right loopholes. You got to jump through all these loopholes. Oh, man. Alright, I'm sorry. Let's move on to health. Here we got from the Natural News, the government had a study on their flu vaccines. And actually, the flu vaccine stops influenza in only 1 out of 100 adults who get the shots. And then they release the study and say, oh, it's 60% effective. But when you really look at the study, only 1 out of 100 people are actually helped by the flu shot. So their latest study is a fraud. Don't take your flu shot. All right. With Halloween coming and all the kids, getting their costumes, your Halloween costume may be hazardous to your health. This is also from Natural News. Researchers at the Ecology tested 31 types of novelty makeup you can find on the shelves of big-name outlets and party stores all over the country. Every single product contained traces of some kind of metal, but that is just the beginning. More than half of the products contained cadmium, a toxic heavy metal linked to cancer, birth defects, and brain damage. Other toxic metals like mercury and lead were also detected. So be careful with the little face paint you put on your kids for Halloween. Also, they want to, federal government wants to jab healthy children with untested anthrax vaccine just to see if it works. That's right. They have this new anthrax vaccine. They're saying, oh, the anthrax, which was proven that anthrax which was released in 2001 was by a government doctor. Now they want to test their little vaccination on our children. Don't fall for it. All right, let's move on. We actually have some good news today in the health section. Alaska passes ordinance to end its water fluoridation program. That's right, Alaska. Good on ya. The town of Palmer, Alaska has been fluoridating its water supply, which is sourced from natural wells in the area. But thanks to concerted public outcry and growing momentum in Alaska and elsewhere to end the practice, the Palmer City Council has officially passed an ordinance repealing the town's water fluoridation mandate. That's right. Palmer, Alaska, bye-bye Florida. Fluoride. There are some towns in Florida who have done it too. Other cities and counties that have recently ended their water fluoridation programs include Felinis County, Florida, the Tampa area, College Station, Texas, Slave Lake, Alberta, Canada, Hohenwald, Tennessee, Pottstown, Pennsylvania, and Spring Hill, Tennessee have all removed fluoride from their water because they know it's killing you. It eats your bones. It doesn't help your bones. It kills you. All right, let's move on. Physician speaks out. Gardasil dangerous, completely useless at preventing cervical cancer. Dr. Christian Fiala, a general practitioner from Vienna, Austria, told World Net Daily in a recent report that Merck's Gardasil does not actually work to prevent cervical cancer and that it is not safe. According to Dr. Fiala, there is no proof of a causal relationship of HPV and cervical cancer, and there is no evidence that HPV vaccine reduces the overall number of cervical cancer cases. So this doctor is saying that HPV is not even linked to cervical cancer. I'm amazed. That's more good news. We have a lot of doctors. What people are calling me. See, I'm doing a show. All right. We have a lot of doctors coming out and speaking the truth. This is amazing. Oh, all right. We only got a little bit of time left. I want to take a phone call or two. If you want to call up, there's the number, 212-245-7273. Be really quick. Turn down your TV because we're running out of time. And then just get your point in because I'm going to cut you off. Caller, you're on the air.
Hey, how you doing?
Hey, what's your name?
Steve from Manhattan.
Hey, Steve, my #1 fan. How's it going?
I'm doing good. Yeah. It just said that they want to test anthrax vaccine on children.
Yes.
Oh, okay. So that means they want to use our children as puppets, like guinea pigs.
Absolutely. They want to test this on our children to see if it works.
Now, this is the same type of anthrax that was at 9/11 as a terror weapon.
Absolutely. It was proven that a government doctor actually released that on our own people.
Oh, okay.
To reporters who were speaking 9/11 truth, it so happens.
Which is under false flag operation.
Absolutely.
Al-Qaeda. There was no such thing as Al-Qaeda. It was under American.
Al-Qaeda was created by the CIA under the Carter administration.
That's right.
And they are now being used in Libya to kill black people.
Is this part of their depopulation act here?
Absolutely. It's part of their war racket. War is a racket, as General Patton stated, one of the greatest generals in the armed forces we ever had. And they murdered him too.
Oh, they murdered him too? Oh, yeah.
With the fake car accident, because he wrote a book speaking the truth.
Exactly. They just revealed it on Decoded with Brad Meltzer.
Absolutely. Hey, listen, Steve, I appreciate your call. Thank you for calling, man. I really appreciate it.
Okay.
All right, man. I'm going to have to let you go, though. All right. Steve is always a great caller. I love that guy. All right, we got another caller on the air. Caller, you're on the air. What's your name?
Roy.
Roy, what's going on?
How are you?
What's on your mind, Roy?
Well, I just turned your show on for the first time, and I see you talking about vaccines. What information do you have on the flu shot?
The flu shot will give you the flu. Go to Dr. Sherry Tenpenny's website, and she will explain to you everything you need to know. It's drsherrytenpenny.com. Okay. Actually, just Google drtenpenny.com.
Okay.
And you will get all the information you need to know about the vaccines. Roy, I thank you for your call. Appreciate it. Let's I'm gonna have to end the calls now. Let's move on to some news. We got the TSA, Congressman, secret report on TSA pat-downs, body scanners, failures will knock your socks off. Off the chart failure rate, sort of like the record of the Marx Brothers. The failure rate for body scanning equipment is classified, but it would absolutely knock your socks off. Florida Republican Representative John L. Micah told reporters during a briefing on Monday. Micah also asserted that recorded instances of pat-downs failing to detect contraband are off the charts. So he's saying these new screeners that they can see your genitals through don't even work. Also, TSA agent harasses man over silver coins. A traveler flying into Las Vegas was questioned by the TSA about his small collection of silver coins. Another example how the federal agency is acting more like a secret police unit than an airport security outfit. So this guy goes to fly. He has some coins that he wants to use for his vacation, no more than $600 worth. And they question him, what are you doing with these coins? Why are they here? And then when they're done with him, they say, you can't even get on the plane. You might not even, this bag might not even meet up with you. So it's more like the Nazi Gestapo. All right, we are so running out of time already. Let's get into the dark side of Halloween real quick. There is a dark side of Halloween, believe it or not. People burn cats for satanic rituals. That's what the report here. I can't go into too much detail because, like I said, we're running out of time. People burn cats. They have satanic rituals after midnight on Halloween, which is technically November 1st. There are these things called baby breeders, where they have people breed babies and then they kill the baby as a human sacrifice for Satan. So watch out for these satanic kind of evil people. Also, Mike Adams, go to naturalnews.com. Mike Adams wrote a beautiful report. It's called "The Second American Revolution Has Begun." It goes extensively and explaining how, I wish I had an hour, explaining how the Second American Revolution is upon us. I thank all my listeners for watching. I thank you for listening. Please, unlock your mind. Think outside the box. Open your horizon. Don't be dumbed down by the mainstream media with their same dying dinosaur stories. They're not giving you the real facts, people. We need to wake up. This is a serious problem on our hands. And I'm all in, like I said earlier. Bring it. Anybody who wants to join me, email me. I need some help in the studio over here. Email me some stories. Something. You know what I mean? Anyway, I love you guys. Thank you for watching. Thank you for listening. God bless America, and God bless the United States Constitution. And if you have received this transmission, then you are the resistance. Alrighty. The right to free speech and the right to freedom of press. That's right. Here you will get free press, true news, news that will unlock your mind. All right, let's get started. Last week I didn't get to touch on Gaddafi. I tried to save it for the end of the show, and we just ran out of time. You know how that goes. So let's just start off with the massacre and the assassination of Colonel Muammar Gaddafi. Greetings, my fellow Americans. We are live. This is Live Free or Die. I am your host, Eli King, the king of alternative news and independent journalism on your Manhattan neighborhood network, the People's Network, where we, the people, get an opportunity to exercise our First Amendment right. I'm not saying this man is a good man. This man is not a good man, Gaddafi. But he is definitely the lesser of two evils in this one. If you look at the facts, you will see. And we're going to start off with a report by investigative journalist Wayne Matson. And he says his sources in Libya provided information revealing Muammar Gaddafi was set up in an assassination plot. Early on October 19th, Twitter messages from Gaddafi's hometown of Sirte reported the presence of white flags across the devastated town. Flags were reported at multiple locations in the town, leaving some to believe the rebels were surrendering. The use of white flags to signal surrender is an ancient tradition going back to Eastern Han Dynasty in China and the Roman Empire. Violating the widely accepted convention is considered an act of extreme treachery. Under both the Geneva and Hague Protocols of international humanitarian law, it is forbidden to kill or injure persons outside of combat, and doing so constitutes a major war crime.